Michelle Prince, founder and CEO of Performance Publishing Group, making a difference one story at a time. We'll be shining the light on successful founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders that are getting results and making a difference. We'll talk about how they built their businesses, are creating movements, and leveraging the power of authority in their own lives. Be sure to stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Michelle Prince, host of the Power of Authority Spotlight, where we connect with successful founders, business leaders, business owners, people that are doing incredible things. They're building businesses, but they are also creating movements. There's a bigger purpose behind what they do. And I'm super excited to introduce you to our guest today because he is doing incredible things and helping a lot of businesses to scale, to grow, and to make a bigger impact in this world. But real quick, a sponsor message. This episode is brought to you by Performance Publishing Group. Performance Publishing Group provides top quality, comprehensive book publishing services for soon-to-be authors. The Performance Publishing team has helped hundreds of authors realize their dream of becoming an author. And, you know, I've written a book, Leo, I believe you have as well. I mean, I have. Yes, I personally believe everyone should write a book. They all have a story. So that's why I'm pretty passionate about that. But as a partner publisher, Performance Publishing Group can offer you more than just expert guidance. They can help you get the book of your dreams and for you to reap all the rewards. So to learn more, just go to performancepublishinggroup.com. All right, let me introduce you to Leo Kanell. He is the founder of Seven Figures Funding, sevenfigures.com, and the Seven Figures Club podcast. As a renowned startup and business funding expert, he teaches and guides entrepreneurs through the rough terrain that is finding startup capital for a new or existing businesses. Having learned many valuable lessons from his own experiences, Leo vowed to make raising finances easier for small businesses and startups. Today, Seven Figures Funding offers an alternative to traditional financing methods. They offer 0% credit lines and no collateral to give your business a real chance to experience exponential growth anywhere in the United States. They have years of experience in business funding, and their systematic approach has helped thousands of businesses across the United States achieve their goals. Their website is sevenfiguresfunding.com. Hey, Leo, welcome to the show.
Michelle, it's great to be with you and your audience, and always love being around other entrepreneurs and small business owners and helping people to make an impact in this world. And it seems like that's exactly what you and your community are doing.
Thank you. Yes, and you are too. And you know, what better business to be in than money business? I mean, who doesn't want to earn more money, get more money, you know, get opportunities to get more funding? So I'm sure you get a lot of questions and a lot of interest in what you do. But let's just start in. What exactly is it that you do, and how did you get into this?
Great question. So our mission is to secure the very best financing options to help, you know, startups, small business owners, side hustlers, secure funds for a business, a project, or whatever they need to kind of make their impact on the world. And so we built out this funding marketplace of loans, lines of credit, 0% interest, business credit cards, equipment loans, real estate, whatever the best financing is you need for your project, your business, or startup. We're going to present those options to you and give you the very best chance as your funding advocate to succeed and get the financing you need.
I mean, in every business owner at some point in their business, whether it's just, you know, in the very early stages or in the scaling years, needs funding. They need access, and it's not as easy as people may think. So and I love that you help people to have options, because that is something that it feels a little limited sometimes. But where did that idea come from? I mean, what made you, kind of back me up even more?
Yeah, so over a decade ago, I was actually looking for financing for a business venture myself, struggling. This is right after the recession of 08, 09, and lending had really tightened up. The banks were only lending to really big businesses. And so if you were a new business owner, and it really hasn't changed much over the last decade, there are more options. But if you're trying to launch a business or you need financing, to get a book published or to get a project off the ground. Like, there are not a lot of options if you don't understand, the marketplace out there. And so after I finally kind of figured out this, I studied our research. All right, you could do this. You could get financing based off of credit. If you have some verifiable income from a job, there's options. If you have some business bank statements, there's options there. And we started to put this together, got financing for some of our businesses, and then friends and family asked for help. And then all of a sudden we had real estate investor friends and e-commerce business owners, and people wanted to get a book published, and like, wow, there's a big need. There's a big impact we can make. Maybe we should do this full time. And for the last decade, that's what my team and I have been fortunate to do. And it's been very rewarding to be able to help somebody and bump into an event years later, and they've got 2 locations and 20 employees, and life's changed, jobs created. And we got to play a part in getting them some of the initial funding to make that happen.
Wow, that is so awesome and so rewarding. I know. I think back to when I started my business. I started in 2009, and truth be told, I knew nothing about starting a business. I didn't have a big pile of money, and I didn't even know what the options were. I certainly didn't want to go to a bank. And so what does any eager entrepreneur do? They get a credit card and they put it all on a credit card, which not the smartest move. And if I could go back and do some redos, I probably would. But it helped me to really learn, the financial side of the business and what makes sense long term. And so what I have to ask, as an entrepreneur business owner, what mistakes, if any, have you made along the way?
Well, I've made lots of mistakes as an entrepreneur along the way. Before launching Seven Figures Funding, about 4 years ago, I launched a previous finance company, and we grew extremely fast, went from 0 to 50 employees in about 18 months. We're growing. I brought on different business partners. And one of the biggest mistakes I made with that company, we started that company in my kitchen years ago, was we didn't have defined values and principles that we stood for as a company. And as I brought on additional partners, I soon found out where I thought they shared those values and principles, they didn't. They didn't oftentimes keep their word and follow through with commitments made to partners, with clients, with our employees. And so eventually I realized, boy, the mistake was mine. I didn't define that. I didn't lead the right way. And so I had to essentially leave that company and start all over again out of my home office with one employee, and we did, and it's been amazing where we've built and established those values and principles, what we stand for, and we've got them on the wall here. We talk about them every week in our training, and our strategic partners, the coaches and trainers whose clients we get funding for across the country, they know we're going to follow through. They know that we're going to do what we say we're going to do. And so those values and principles, one of the biggest mistakes I made early on in my career, not establishing those. And you can establish those with your family, with your friends, with your life. And when you live by certain core values and principles, I feel like that's something really transformational that gives you a big advantage and odds for success.
Absolutely. I started my career working with Zig Ziglar, and, we talk about values and integrity and how important that is. And I just always remember, the exact quote I won't get, but talking about who you do surround yourself with, whether it be in business, in life, it matters. And so going into a business, but the good news is you realize that, and maybe painfully had to step back and get out of it, but better to do that than, to surround yourself with the wrong people.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm curious, you've done, I'm sure, so countless funding scenarios and all that, but what is something you're most proud of, or give us an example of one that you're like, wow, that was just so incredibly fulfilling to see how our help helped this business or this person.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was, I think it was about 6 years ago. There was a young woman who had been a beautician, a hairstylist in Denver, Colorado. She had been kind of self-employed, working under another business and growing. And she's like, you know what? I know I can do this better. I know I can create more value for my customers, give them a better experience. I'm going to go ahead and create my own high-end beauty salon. She'd saved about $20,000 to do it, and she knew that she needed additional financing and capital for all the equipment, to have a top notch location and have money to hire her first employees, et cetera, et cetera. And so she went online and she searched, business lines of credit, and my company came up, and I was able to connect with her. And initially, she actually had gotten declined from her local bank, and the reason she'd been declined was that she had like a credit card that was maxed out, and you can pay your bills on time, but no one teaches us about credit and money
Yeah.
in high school or college. And so we educated her and said, what's happening here is, number one, you're asking for a lot of money, and as a new business owner, they're not going to generally do that unless you have a whole bunch of collateral, $100,000 401k you want to put up as collateral. And so, but what you can do is, if we, get this credit card balance paid down and get your credit score, higher, now you're going to have a chance where we can go to 3 or 4 lenders, and each one can give you $10,000 to $20,000 each, and now you can get your business started. So we did that. She even got a 0% interest rate for the first year on it. And I remember talking to her at an event that we were sponsoring a couple of years later, and she was that one of those people saying, yes, I've got all these employees now. I'm teaching other motivated hairstylist professionals to start their own beauty salon. We've got 2 locations now. I'm just bought my building. And that
Wow.
was really awesome, just to see that transformation of somebody who, if they hadn't gotten those early funds and financing, may not never have happened. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know how to do it, if you don't have a funding advocate and all the different options, and know the credit game, like, legitimately, you may not get the financing, and it's very difficult to succeed if you don't have access to that money. And we always talk, there's good debt and bad debt, and when you have a proven business model that you can get financing for, we believe that's good debt.
Yes, absolutely. But how many people are like that woman who don't know where to start? So they do a Google search and,
Oh, yeah.
and go down the wrong path. I mean, this may not be an educated question, but how does what you're doing compare to, like, if somebody were to go to SBA, or, I know
Yeah.
going directly to a bank, but what's the difference?
Well, that's a great question. And before the 0809 recession, there were bank loans and things that banks did. And pretty much after, any brick and mortar bank location that you go and see nowadays,
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's going to be an SBA loan option. And the
Hmm.
problem, if you're a new or small business owner, if you don't have collateral, if you don't have multiple years of profitable business tax returns, then SBA is going to decline you, or worse, they'll take you through months of paperwork and
Oh,
jumping through hoops, only to decline you after 3 months of working on it, and you have to go back and start over. And they also are going to hard pull your credit, which is
yeah.
going to lower your credit score. Whereas with our marketplace, we have a relationship with Experian. It's a soft credit snapshot, and there's no negative impact. So the biggest difference is, your local bank is SBA. SBA is very difficult to qualify for. And on our marketplace, we have over 100 unique alternative lending options, from small credit unions to online lenders to funding sources that people have never heard of. And we'll present all those options to you, and you're in the driver's seat to decide what works best.
Do you ever get people who come to you and say, this is too good to be true, or what's the catch? Because it sounds really, really good.
All the time, people, think, is this too good to be true? And that's where, some of the things we were talking about, what are you doing to, take charge of your business? And I feel like one of those things is, you have to have online credibility. And
Yeah.
so, if somebody, the first thing someone does in today's age in 2022 is the name of your business or your name reviews, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you haven't, served your clients and gotten them the result that they're looking for, and there are not online video reviews
Hmm.
and a Google Maps location with a bunch of 5-star reviews, then that's something that's really important in terms of building that credibility. And we have had so many clients that have come on board, and we always encourage them, please share your experience. I know you don't want to go on video on your phone, but if you'll share 30 seconds and just be
Yeah.
real and authentic, it's so helpful for people. And just last week, we had this gentleman who had went to West Point, graduated, served in our military, and tours in Afghanistan, tours in Iraq.
Wow.
And Connor was talking with one of our referral partners in also in Colorado Springs, oddly enough, and he was buying a bike from this guy, and the dude was saying, "Oh boy, I really need to get a second location. We need more inventory. We're ready to grow." And So he came to us. We got him a business line of credit in about 48 hours for $190,000. And now he is getting that second location. He's making it happen. And we just love to help someone who's a veteran who
Oh
served
my
our country.
gosh.
And so it really is just the knowledge of knowing, okay, you come in, here's your credit, here's your business, here's the industry, here's where you live. Great. Based on those factors, we know these are the four best lenders most likely to approve you. We
Mhm.
do all the work, put it together, and take it to them. And so it really is kind of a system. And you talk about 10,000 hours to become an expert. I mean, we're into this probably 40, 50,000 hours at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, well, I own a business, but am I one, a good candidate? Two, is it should I go get a line of credit, or should I just keep managing it the way I'm managing it? What are some of those markers for a business owner to say, you know what, I need to reach out to these guys?
It's a great question. And I was just filming a video earlier this morning called ROL. And in my book, The Business Funding Formula, we have a chapter dedicated to this because as a business owner, the number one factor you need to consider of whether it makes sense to take out a loan or a line of credit is, can you generate a return on that loan or line of credit? Why we all know about ROI, return on investment. Okay, if I put money into this investment, hopefully
Mhm.
it makes me 10, 20% a year. And the rule of 72 says I can double my money every so often based on those factors. Well, the same factors apply with the return on loan or return on line of credit concept. If I'm going to take out $50,000 in a loan or line of credit, do I know my business well enough? Do I have proof of concept, or am I confident enough in my business model that I can take that $50,000, hire somebody, do a marketing campaign, invest in equipment or a product or whatever you need to do, and generate sales over the next 12 to 18 months with that $50,000 and generate a 100, 200, 300%
Wow.
return. And even if the cost of that money was 15%, which, 15% seems so high. But if you're making 200%
Right.
minus a 15% cost, that's the 185% return on that money.
Wow.
And that's why business debt is different than personal debt, right? You get that, you want the lowest rate possible to buy a home, to get a car. But when it comes to business financing, all I need to understand is, can I generate a strong return, pay it back? And then for a lot of clients, should I get a loan or a line of credit? We always encourage them to get a line of credit because then they can use it, pay it down
Yeah.
without having to jump through more hoops and get a new loan in the future.
That is so awesome. ROL, love that. I will remember that. So do you also, so for somebody who's come in, like the examples you've already given, do you help them with making those decisions of what to do with that money? Because you mentioned, maybe do you hire someone? Do you put it into inventory? I know you have a mastermind, a money mastermind. Is that part of, or do you do those kinds of things?
Absolutely. We want to give them as many sources as possible to increase their odds for success. So we have some education platforms we built out that we're giving away for free to help them build their business credit, growth strategies,
Awesome.
building online credibility, and then focusing in on making sure they have a marketing and lead gen strategy that's going to get returns. But probably the biggest thing that we do is, in our network, we have thousands of different coaches and trainers and experts. And so we'll pair them up with an expert in that industry or field who can provide value there. And a lot of our business does come from a lot of these coaches and trainers and consultants that help people successfully build businesses. And so, just like I'm sure you teach to your community, the quickest way to success is finding someone who's already done it and asking
Yes.
for directions.
Absolutely. Why recreate the wheel? When somebody else has already done it and probably done it better. So I love it. So the show is called The Power of Authority, Spotlight, and we're putting the spotlight on you today. And your business is clearly very, very successful. You've been doing this for a long time, but I imagine you're probably still trying to grow and scale to the next level. What are you doing, or what is your business doing to build your authority? And let me frame that. So my book is called The Power of Authority, but it's a play on words. You can't spell authority without author. So part of it is having a book, which you have, but it's more about what that platform is. What are you seeing that's working to get exposure for your business today?
Well, absolutely. And today, if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, it is about becoming an expert, right?
Yeah.
When you're an expert, People see you as an authority because you're an expert in that subject, topic, domain that you work in. And so for me, it did start with, yeah, if I'm going to be the business finance expert, after I had enough, where I felt experience, a defined marketplace, as clients' reviews, I thought, boy, I've been thinking about this book for a long time. I mapped it out. I wrote it literally in 2 weeks because sometimes I feel like you kind of earn a book because you've worked in an industry, you've worked in a field, and you just know, hey, this is the map for success. In my book, it was the business funding formula. And then once you have that, then okay, great. Where else can you provide value? Well, a lot of the authority comes in these virtual events or live events.
Yes.
Can you speak about your subject? Can you speak about your topic and do it in a way that's simple so the audience understands and yet powerful to inspire them? Wow, I never knew how powerful business funding can be and financing, and how knowing about credit and money and how that works is a big tool to help you succeed as an entrepreneur. And obviously, the next thing that you've got to be aware of is when someone searches your name on Google or your company name, what's showing up. You have to be able to dominate your page one search results on Google. And then the next thing that we're doing is there are platforms that you've got to be active in. If you're not creating content on YouTube, that's a huge missed opportunity. There's so much. I mean, we had a video we created the other day, and lo and behold, that got 300,000 organic views, which if we'd have spent money on that would have been like $25,000 in ad spend. But that video just went viral, and you just don't know. LinkedIn, I feel, is another huge opportunity right now. Gary Vaynerchuk's talking a lot about it. And there's a lot of organic content there's not a lot of content being put on LinkedIn, but people who are on LinkedIn are serious. They have a higher net worth. They want to do business. A great opportunity is LinkedIn and YouTube. So we're putting a lot of content out into both of those platforms.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you said that about the being the expert, the authority. I mean, that's kind of what I've been talking about for a long, long time, because, there is just something about that. And even you could be the smartest person, you could have the best business, but if you to somebody who's potentially your prospect doesn't see that, or there's no social proof of that, or there's nothing online, that verifies that, it's going to be really difficult to get people to believe that. So it does start with that. And I personally believe that starting with a book, I think every business owner should have a book, especially the ones that are serious about their business. So I love that you do
Completely.
too. Okay. One last question, and then we're going to wrap it up. But I'm curious, who is your mentor? Who's had the greatest impact on you?
There's two types of mentors out there. And a lot of us, I think, when we think of mentors, we think of someone that we, know and we meet with them in person. And I've got a few people like that are successful entrepreneurs in the finance industry. One that I actually ended up coaching football. Our sons were on the same team. He's built, a huge finance business and consumer finance. I've learned from Bob. And then there's a lot of online mentors that I have eventually met, that I've followed. I followed Gary Vaynerchuk for a long time. I spoke at an event, sponsored an event that he was the keynote at, got to meet him in person and ask him questions. So I went through a phase there where I followed Gary a lot. Same thing with Grant Cardone. I just got back from an event with Patrick Bet-David, who I also had the opportunity to meet and speak at an event with him last year. I would say he's probably the top online mentor that I'm following. The amazing thing is nowadays, like, you don't have to know somebody and meet in person. There are so many great entrepreneurs that you can learn from, like yourself, Michelle, and what programs does Michelle have? What YouTube videos can I learn from her? What podcast episodes can I learn? And I like to go all in with an online entrepreneur that I can learn from about a subject or topic, and maybe not follow too many others, but just really dial it in. And so I feel like that's been really helpful for me. And then eventually, the more you study research, also there's an event, and all of a sudden you can connect and you meet them in person, ask them questions. You feel like you know them because you've literally watched like 30 or 40 of their videos.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I love asking that question because I think to that point, you don't have to know them personally. Zig Ziglar was mine, and because I worked with him, but I have a lot of online, mentors that they don't even know they mentor me. And I noticed you're a 7 Comma Club and all of those things. So you're clearly very and disciplined and invested in building your business, your brand, everything. So I just think it's awesome.
That's
Well,
amazing. You got to work with Zig, though. I mean, I remember I had the opportunity to listen to him once in person when he came here to Utah, and yeah, what a remarkable human being, and man built on values and enthusiasm and optimism and solutions, and
yes.
exactly his message lives on today
And
and
when
lives on in everything you're doing, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you. And what I loved about him, he was better behind closed doors than he was on the stage, whereas sometimes you get the opposite with listening to
Yeah,
big
yeah.
speakers. So, okay, well, I
He
want to wrap
walked
it.
the walk.
I know. I want to wrap this up, but I want to make sure, because I know there's so many people listening that are like, "Oh my gosh, how do I get a hold of him? How do I take advantage of this?" I know you have an app. You want to just tell us really quickly the best way that they can connect with you and how you can help them?
Yeah, you bet. So if you just go to Seven Figures Funding, just the digit seven and then figuresfunding.com right there. We've got our marketplace of options there that you can read. There's videos to educate you on all the different options out there. And if you want to get a free pre-approval with no impact to your credit, then just click on the apply now button, and our team will present all the options to you and let you know what's available to you. If you're thinking, oh, there's no way I'm going to qualify, my business isn't strong enough, my credit's not good, you can still apply, because we have a credit college platform we'll give you for free to help you with credit. We have different third parties that can also help with negative and accurate items. So if you just go to sevenfiguresfunding.com, you can get a free pre-approval. And then, as you pointed out, over the years, a lot of business owners have said, Leo, how am I going to manage all these accounts? I got bank accounts, credit cards, loans, lines of credit. I got my investments. I got my real estate. I've got 50 websites to log into. Isn't there a way that I could just manage it in one place? And so this year we actually launched the My Figures app at myfigures.com. And it's a money app with just a few dollars a month. And you can, manage everything in one place through that app, instead of having to log into 30 different websites.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that. That is really awesome. Okay, so that's myfigures.com. And definitely, I hope that those listening take advantage of this and go and apply. And, what do you have to lose? And think of all you could do with growing your business. So thank you so much for being on the show. This was a great interview. And I know you've just so much value. I have a half page of notes here. So I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, everyone, that's it for today's show. Definitely take advantage and get to know sevenfiguresfunding.com and Leo. And I can't wait to hear what you're going to do to continue to build your authority. See you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the Power of Authority Spotlight. If you are a successful founder, entrepreneur, business owner, or leader that's getting results and making a difference, and you'd like to be on this program, please visit performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast to apply. That's performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast. Also, if you got something out of this interview, please share this episode. Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag #ThePowerOfAuthoritySpotlight. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content, so make sure you don't miss any episodes by subscribing. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our websites, performancepublishinggroup.com or michelleprince.com, and follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.